Well, guys, I don't know what's going on in this crazy market.
Do you even know what's happening?
But I've been telling you guys a recession is going to come. Watch out because the housing market is going to take a hit. Well, I've got some bad news for you guys. The government's changed the definition of what a recession is. So technically, there won't be a recession based on what the government's new definition of a recession is. I didn't know that you could just up and change the official definition of a recession to make sure we don't have a recession. My name is Orlando and welcome to the channel. The official definition of a recession is a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by a falling GDP in 2 successive quarters. Now, that is the definition, guys, of a recession. And what possibly could the government be thinking to themselves that the reason why they would change the definition? I don't know. Maybe because we had one quarter that was negative GDP and the second quarter coming up, the reports are coming up soon, will show that we have a negative GDP again, which would officially put us in a recession. Or we've been in a recession. Maybe that's the reason. I don't know, guys. But before I jump into this information, guys, 82% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel. Why aren't you subscribed to the channel? Hit that subscribe button. It helps more people see this content and allow the channel to grow. But hey, listen guys, you don't have to take my word for it. Let's take a look at what everyone else says the definition of a recession is.
We typically define a recession as 2 quarters of negative GDP growth.
Technical recession is a decline of gross domestic product, or GDP, for 2 consecutive quarters.
But in the United States, a recession is noted when there are 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth.
Well, you ask about the definition of a recession. I've got the textbook definition right here, at least as most people understand it. They say it's 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth in U.S. production that's measured in real GDP.
See? I'm telling you, it's just not me. Just not the Google definition, but it's also individuals in the media that are saying this is the definition of what a recession is. So let's go ahead and see what the White House put out as quote unquote the new definition of what a recession is. The White House came out with a blog that says, how do economists determine whether the economy is in a recession? What is a recession? While some maintain that 2 consecutive quarters of falling real GDP constitutes a recession, that is neither the official definition nor the way economists evaluate the state of the business cycle. Instead, both official determinations of a recession and economists' assessment of economic activity are based on a holistic look at the data, including labor market, consumer and business spending, industrial production, and incomes. Based on these data, it is unlikely that the decline in GDP in the first quarter of this year, even if followed by another GDP decline in the second quarter, indicates a recession. So they're saying that if we have 2 consecutive quarters of GDP decline, that's no longer, guys, a recession. So the big recession, or the recession that I said is going to happen in the housing market, technically by the new definition is not going to happen. So let me kind of put this in layman terms. So it kind of sounds like what the White House is saying about the housing market crash, a recession that will cause the housing market crash, isn't going to happen because, jobs are plentiful out here and that job growth is still strong, even though inflation is through the roof and spending was going down, and down. I mean, that is laughable that you can just change a definition just like that. And all of a sudden, it's no longer a recession. Oh, Look at that, man. Problem solved, guys, right? Our economy is no longer in trouble. The housing, hey, inflation, don't worry about that because we're going to solve that really easy. We could change the definition of that too, and no longer inflation is no longer a problem. Matter of fact, inflation is a good thing now.
It's all good, man.
You know, because the definition is now changed. This is crazy, guys. But what does this mean for you in the housing market? Well, it basically changes nothing. I get that the White House, that the government is literally trying to make sure we don't go into a recession. They're trying to hold us back and say, look, things are going great with the economy. Don't worry. You know, that overpriced house that you're looking at, you probably should still buy it even with the high interest rates because prices will not go down. Let me tell you what, guys, there's one thing that I see no matter what. If people do not have the money to buy a home, if it is unaffordable and interest rates continue to go up, which they will, the Fed is going to continue to raise rates. It's coming up again in the next 2 weeks, probably. No! So with that being said, with rates continuing to go up, prices are still unaffordable, people will not buy homes, which will drop the demand, which will bring up inventory, which will bring down prices. It's really just that simple. I'm not calling out something to saying that, you know, on August 20th, this is when, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that those steps will happen, and in those steps, prices will come down. I mean, that's just the way the cycle is gonna work. Just imagine when holiday time comes, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, all of that other stuff, things will be much higher. People will buy less. All of that stuff is going to come down. People are making the same wage that they were making previously. Wages have not went up. Prices are continuing to go up. Prices of homes are continuing to go up. Taxes are going up. Insurance on homes are going up. The work and appliances that you use to fill up the home is going up. Wages are still staying the same.
It's trash.
So what does that mean? That means most people will end up have to working 1, 2, 3 jobs just to make ends meet. That is just the truth. That is exactly what's happening. And unfortunately, no matter if the government is trying to change the definition of what a recession is, we will still be in one, are in one. So this is nuts. I know, guys. I know. It's crazy. And you think to yourself, like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, we go through these cycles and it is what it is. We go through a recession and then we come out of a recession.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
So guys, don't believe the hype that we won't be in a recession because the government changed the definition. Let's watch a video of the government being called out for this and let's see what their response was.
Next week's a very big week for the economy. So I read the CEA blog. Is the White House trying to change the common definition of a recession because next Thursday the GDP numbers coming out are going to show that we've been in a recession?
So let me say this, you know, the strength of our labor market along with the other economic factors is what we generally see in a recession, or even what is not what we generally see in a recession or even a pre-recession, because we're seeing the strength of the economy and the labor market. So that's really important to note there because those are key elements as we talk about that, as folks keep asking us about that. So Americans across the country are back to work at a historic level. 21 states, the most in history, have unemployment rates at or below 3%. That is an important number to note. 14 states.
It is what I expected. She's going to continue to spin the conversation towards the amount of new jobs that were created and saying that basically it can't be a recession and we can no longer use the definition of negative GDP growth for 2 consecutive months because there are so many new jobs being created. There are so many new jobs month after month after month due to the labor numbers that there's no way. So we have to change the definition of a recession.
The job growth in the U.S. is shrinking, is decreasing, and 7.5 million people, a growing number, are multi-jobs, meaning they have to work more than one job to afford a living. So is jobs really a good indicator then?
Look, here's what I would say. We've always talked about the strength of our economy. We've always talked about how historic it's been, and we've always talked about the transitioning, right? The transitioning to more stable and steady growth. And so to your point about the job growth there, this is what we have been kind of stating for the past several months. Look, the economy created 1.1 million jobs in the...
I like how she went, like she doubled back and said that, no, that's what we are saying. We are saying that people are working 2 to 3 jobs just to make ends meet. That's what the numbers indicate. But she only literally indicated that after the gentleman said exactly those stats. So how come you didn't say that that's what the numbers indicated to begin with? I know I maybe confused you guys with that statement, but she literally just agreed that the numbers do include what that reporter said, but she was really touting and really saying, hey, labor, jobs is the reason why we cannot say this is a recession when the numbers come out showing that we have GDP growth. I can almost guarantee, I can't guarantee, but I can almost guarantee that, it's looking like those numbers will look like negative GDP growth. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy on YouTube talking about housing market recession and blah, blah, blah. But once again, guys, this is the information that you guys need to see, because you guys will see this info on the news and you would think to yourself,
when is this recession gonna come? I thought Orlando said 2 months of consecutive GDP growth is a recession. And I just saw numbers that said we had a negative quarter again. I don't get it. Orlando must not know what he's talking about.
Well, the government's changing the definition and they're pulling the rug from underneath me. So I guess we'll have inflation that's sky high. That's not really inflation anymore. Then I guess we won't be in a recession and we'll have a whole year worth of negative GDP growth. And we still won't be in a recession because people are getting jobs. Job growth literally controls if we're in a recession or not. Yeah, we'll see. But once again, guys, I hope you got value out of this content. I'm gonna need you to watch this next video here. It will help you understand what's going on in this crazy housing market, especially with things like this changing up on you all the time. And also how to get into your first rental property. Check out in the description below. I have some useful links there for joining our membership program and getting a free credit report. See you guys in the next one. Thanks.